Simple enough, right?
So pretty much we're just dumb.
80% since the 1990s.
Whoa!
We actually know someone that died. They brought us closer together as countries.
Roundabouts can save your life.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be checking into a video. We've done one similar to this, but this I think is the first time we're doing a full video on it. And this is the Roundabout.
Why the U.S. hates roundabouts.
Yes, from the channel Cheddar, which I will have to say, I love that as a YouTube channel. Cheddar. It's fun. Anyway,
Making that cheddar.
probably what prompted me to want to do this is we actually just talked about these in my econ class because I'm going back to school, even though I'm really old. Anyway, so yeah, so it was like, yeah, why does the U.S. hate roundabouts? And what are we doing about it?
I don't know if we do or if we just don't incorporate them enough. I feel like we're trying to do them more, but
And there's many reasons why, and I will explain that from what my econ teacher said.
Ooh.
But anyway, guys,
we're all going to get taught here, aren't we?
Yeah, at least the U.S. perspective. Anyway, guys, we're going to check out this video and see what Cheddar has to say about this, and I'm sure they're going to do a lot of comparisons to other countries. So I've driven now in 2 countries. Mm-hmm. I guess technically 4 if you
count Scotland and Wales.
Yeah.
We didn't drive in Scotland very well.
But I did technically drive for a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely it's roundabouts in Europe, and not just Europe, but like roundabouts seems like the majority everywhere. So anyway, I do have some perspective on it.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, guys, let's get into the video. Check it out. Before though, please like, share, and subscribe if you like this topic of content, and let us know what you think of the video down below. And if you agree or disagree with the information shared in this video.
Carmel, Indiana is home to an unusual record. The city of 97,000 people north of Indianapolis boasts over 125 modern roundabouts,
Dang.
more than any other U.S. city, and they're proud of it. This number accounts for...
That's a lot of roundabouts. No, seriously, that is a lot. For only 100,000 people, that's like the size of actually smaller than Springfield.
Missouri?
Yeah, that's 150. So yeah, that's a ton of roundabouts for a U.S. city.
More than any other U.S. city, and they're proud of it. This number accounts for 3% of the country's 4,000 total roundabouts.
They're all roundabouts.
But compared to other countries, the U.S. is not holding...
That's pretty much exactly like
The UK.
England and UK, Iceland, everywhere. It's like roundabouts.
The U.S. is not holding any records. France has the most roundabouts with over 30,000 constructed across the country. It is followed closely by the United Kingdom with 25,000 roundabouts. So how did one small Midwestern city become the roundabout capital of the U.S.?
Yes, how?
That is crazy though, because you're dealing with like a number of 60 million in the UK, I think 80 something million in France. I could be wrong. It's been a minute since I've looked it up. Yeah, we only have 4,000.
In the entire
That
US?
is why like we don't see them that often.
That is true.
One small Midwestern city become the roundabout capital of the U.S. The reason can be credited to Mayor Jim Brainerd. During his graduate school trip to England, he observed the ease and safety of the country's numerous roundabouts. Drivers were yielding to traffic, and to bikes, and to pedestrians. No unsightly traffic signals and no long lines or congestion. It made me wonder why the U.S. had not built more roundabouts.
That's a really clever way how they did the little thing. Anyway,
The editing.
I love that. I love that like there was a politician that went abroad to study or whatever and actually brought some of that back.
I think it's interesting he was actually inspired by the UK.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like actually, like because Europe, like I mean, I feel like nowadays like most countries are pretty good with each other.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like
U.S. is still closed off from a lot of European countries, though.
Well, yes and no. It's like we have internet, we have social media, so we can see this stuff. But without experiencing in person, but what I'm trying to say is it's just so kind of refreshing that they actually brought a policy back that was good, something that we can enjoy and benefit from, and implemented it.
Well, at least they do in Indiana.
That's what I meant.
Brainerd was elected mayor of Carmel in 1996. He made it his mission to cover the city with roundabouts. But an ease in traffic congestion was not the only reason behind his campaign. In fact, the roundabout is the intersection of choice for many modernized countries because of its proven safety. Carmel, Indiana alone has seen a reduction in the number of injuries from car accidents by about 80% since the 1990s. So,
Dang, that's huge
Well,
difference.
okay, so we actually just talked about this in my econ class. So it's safer because you're not like the left turn is the dangerous part.
Oh, yeah.
left turn, because you always have that sound like, did I stop? Did you stop?
Yeah.
Stop and go, especially without stoplights with a stop sign, and then even stoplights, because we can go on right on red,
right,
for the most part. Then even if someone's turned left and you're going right, T-bone, absolutely. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but another thing my teacher mentioned is they actually cut down on pollution by a ton, because you're not stopping there idling.
Oh, so it's just a steady flow.
Yep, saves gas, saves money, everything.
So if
I think it does
roundabouts
save
are
time.
increasing safety for drivers, why is America lagging behind?
I hate them.
Probably because
They're the worst things ever.
probably just because we have to redo all our infrastructure.
I guess, but it's easier than doing some things.
Yeah, and I'll mention another point here in just a little bit. They don't. I found that was really interesting about why we should also switch to them.
Okay.
Why is America lagging behind?
I hate them. They're the worst things ever.
Just Americans like me hate it and don't think they're necessary.
I used to, but now I
think that
don't.
it's taking a long time and I'm scared I'm gonna miss the exit I need, and so I end up going maybe 2 or 3 times more than I need to.
Even if that's true, though, it just shows why roundabouts are so good. Because even if you miss your exit,
Just gotta get used to
as
it.
long as you don't get off on it. But even like we missed our exit a bunch of times in
So many times.
England, so we just went to the next roundabout, which was like a quarter of a mile, and then we could loop back. It was just way easier than like going down a bunch of side streets and stop at stop signs.
Yeah.
There are over 300,000 existing signalized intersections in the United
That's all?
States.
That's a lot.
According to the Federal
guess.
Highway Administration,
feel like
more
more.
than 50% of the combined total of fatal and injury crashes occur at or near these intersections.
That makes sense.
Well, actually, we actually know someone that died
Yeah, I didn't understand.
because of it. Like a semi. I don't quite remember what exactly happened, but I think they were turning left.
No, I
and
think they were just standing there and the semi behind them did not stop and just
I don't remember if they had been a roundabout there. They would have
just kept going.
probably would still be alive, honestly.
Yeah. Because he would have just jumped the roundabout instead of plowing straight into them at a
Well,
stop
no,
sign.
they wouldn't have been stopped.
Yeah.
They would have just been in the roundabout.
On average, over 10,000 people are killed each year in collisions at them. Yet,
Dang.
studies show that modern roundabouts reduce accidents by 38% and fatal crashes up to 90%. So why does the collision rate drastically drop? Well, the answer lies in the construction. A roundabout is a small one-way circular intersection built around a raised center island. Drivers must yield to circulating traffic as they enter and exit at their desired street. Because drivers are forced to slow down upon entry, the collision rate drops. They are no longer racing to beat the red light. Even if an accident occurs, injuries are less likely due to the lower speeds. Take note though,
That's what I was
this is
thinking.
the
lower
definition
speeds.
specifically for what is called the modern roundabout. This is because the modern roundabout is often confused with the similar intersections known as traffic circles or rotaries. Unlike modern roundabouts, traffic circles are much larger in shape. Drivers enter traffic circles in a straight line at faster speeds, and they're not required to yield to oncoming traffic. In modern roundabouts, drivers navigate.
Have you seen these?
Yeah, we drove through several of them in England.
No, these modern ones with the lights?
No, you remember in England?
Oh, there were
a
some
bunch
with stuff. I was trying to think if these were over here, and I'm like,
I've never seen one
have
over
those
here.
over here.
But in England, we had several you enter it,
Yeah.
and it was like usually they're a bigger roundabout, 2
Yeah,
or
it was
3
like,
lanes.
yeah, that was confusing.
But there was a light, and like you had to wait the light. But then once the light was going, you just kept going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were confusing.
Navigate a gentle curve at a slower pace. Traffic circles often use stoplights or stop signs within the circular intersection. This is Columbus Circle in New York City. Built in
think that's a famous one.
1905,
I've
it's
seen
considered to be the world's first traffic circle. Following its
old?
construction, large traffic circles began spreading around the United States. But because their layout enabled high-speed merging and weaving, they caused more vehicle collisions and they quickly fell out of favor.
Big issue with these circles was safety. The fact that cars had to suddenly be stopped in the middle of it while everyone's coming in at speed, and that's scary.
That's Gordon Meth, a civil engineer.
Sorry, that's a horrible last name.
I've heard of
And
one.
that's scary.
That's Gordon Meth, a civil engineer.
And not all our cars perform as fast as others. Then they would get congested. Those were the reasons why circles fell out of fashion, and a lot of government agencies went around trying to get rid of circles.
By the 1950s, development slowed to a halt worldwide. Fast forward to 1966. A city engineer named Frank Blackmore of the United Kingdom wanted to rectify the problems caused by traffic circles.
Oh, those little tiny ones. Ugh.
He developed what is now known as the modern roundabout.
I feel like he
Blackmore
raised it.
established the give-way rule for his modern roundabouts, which required entering drivers to yield to circulating traffic. This created a much safer intersection than the original traffic circles. The idea quickly gained favor, and the modern roundabout began spreading throughout parts of Europe. The changes Blackmore made were successful, and over time, accident rates dropped drastically.
But the trend was not catching on in the United States. Engineers weren't convinced that the improvements Blackmore enacted were safer for drivers, and Americans still had a largely unpopular opinion about them.
So, American engineer Leif Arsten set out to change that. In 1984, Arsten reached out to Blackmore for help. In 1941, Sir Winston Churchill asked America to join Britain in a struggle to protect democracy. We join you, and together we triumphed. Now, 45 years later, I am calling upon you to help me with the difficult struggle in which we are both engaged. We are trying to bring the British-style roundabout to the Western Hemisphere. The fighting is tough, the slogging is slow, and the resistance is stiff. In the spirit of Anglo-American cooperation, will you join us and lend a hand?
That is such a cool lure. Oh, it's like, I didn't realize that the U.S. and Britain came together even more over the roundabout than the war. It brought us closer together as countries. That's nice.
I don't know if exactly that's what it is.
I don't think that's true, but that's still, that is such a professional, I love it. That's awesome.
Blackmore quickly agreed to a meeting with Arsten and traveled to the United States. Together, the two set out around the state of California, persuading traffic heads to begin building modern roundabouts. However, the public was not convinced. Surveys showed only 20% of drivers approved of their construction.
I get it. I was one of those people too, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Approved of their construction.
Because people just don't like
Even
change.
if project proposals for roundabouts were approved, the two men were
That and road construction takes forever over here.
True.
I might be everywhere, but just saying, it does feel like it takes forever.
Well, that's I think probably why it's just we already have our system. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it. But we already have our system, and it just would cost so much to redo it all. I mean, it would be better. And I think slowly we will go that route.
I think so, because all the new things being built, they do incorporate
There's a lot more roundabouts anytime there's new roads, and they're doing some weird things with X's. So instead of doing a roundabout to get on the interstate, we have this X thing where it actually pushes us on the left side of the road, so that way when you take your left turn to get on the ramp, you're already on that side, and you're not having to cross oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
So there's these little X things that we have to go on. And apparently that's actually having some really good results on safety.
Even if project proposals for roundabouts were approved, the two men were often met with protest, and the plans were quickly shut down. Finally, in 1990, Arsten and Blackmore's hard work paid off, and the first two modern roundabouts were successfully constructed in a Las Vegas subdivision. The feat caught the attention of city planners. Other communities followed in their footsteps, and roundabouts slowly began popping up around the U.S.
Although construction started later in the U.S., the timeline of events is not an exclusive explanation for the lack of roundabouts. In fact, there are a few theories that could account for the answer.
First, the American detestation for roundabouts could derive from what is called the availability heuristic. This term describes the way people form an opinion on something based on the immediate thoughts or memories that are associated with it. The scene of Clark Griswold getting trapped while driving in a traffic circle and European Vacation may come to mind.
I've actually never seen that movie. I've only seen The Christmas Vacation.
I didn't know they even had it.
There's 3 of them.
It's amazing. I cannot get left. There's Big Ben, kids. Parliament.
Chase is such a good actor. Well, he's a funny actor.
Yeah.
Or perhaps the time Homer Simpson drives hopelessly around the Lambeth Bridge roundabout before swerving out in a desperate attempt to escape the never-ending nightmare.
Keep turning.
Okay, that's Homer Simpson.
Keep turning. Keep turning.
I see an opening.
No, it's
Only to crash into the Queen of England herself.
That's it. I'm acting the way America acts best. Unilaterally.
When thinking about modern roundabouts, many Americans tend to envision
Never heard
traffic
that.
circles. This is
That's
an
funny.
easy misconception because the two appear similar at first glance. Ever since the fallout of the original traffic circle that enabled high collision rates in the early 1900s, Americans were left with a bad taste in their mouths. So, the assumption that modern roundabouts will be just as dangerous is formed. Plus, American drivers might simply just be used to traffic lights.
We're just used to intersections and traffic signals, historically. I've found that the public sometimes don't like four-way stops where everyone has to stop and yield. They just don't like them because they just get, if there's a lot of traffic, they get kind of confused. I think you get the same effect in a roundabout. You know, the uncertainty level gets to people. There's something comforting, I think, to the red, yellow, green that tells you.
Yeah, with traffic lights, it's like very clear signals. Like if you forget what it is, it kind of tells you. With roundabouts, you have to know what they mean to navigate them properly. I mean, but once you know, it's really pretty simple.
For the most part, you're literally just looking at the oncoming traffic, and if you have enough room, you get on. If you don't, you wait.
I still don't understand like the 2 lanes, how that works entirely, so I'm always just like, I'll just stay on the outer one as much as I can.
Yeah, I forget.
Just play it safe.
Iceland had a rule, I think. Oh, what is the rule?
Oh no, don't fuss.
So yeah, the rule I came across on Iceland is actually the yielding is opposite. So anytime that there's a 2-lane roundabout, whoever's on the inside circle, they have priority over the outside circle.
Oh,
so the outside circle has to yield to the ones on the inside.
Okay, that would be better because once you're on the inside, it's really hard to get out. Unless somebody's like...
Maybe that's why they did it. I'm not for sure. I'm pretty sure they're the only country that's like that, though.
Oh.
With the roundabouts.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the rules are here in America. We come across it so few times. It's like...
I mean, it's similar to everywhere else. You yield to oncoming traffic, and then if you're on the inside circle, you yield to the outside circle.
I know, and that makes sense, but it also makes it hard to get out of the inside circle.
There's something comforting, I think, to the red, yellow, green that tells you it's time to go or not go.
They are comfortable with a binary system that controls their actions and makes decisions for them. Red light stop, green light go. Simple enough, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, drivers care more about the illusion of safety created by stoplights. But when they are forced to rely on their own driving abilities, along with the actions of others...
Like, seriously, just look at how long that would... Like, if you hit every single red light in this, it would take you forever.
They do kind of run in sync, as you can tell, so usually if you stop at one, you get a lot of green lights afterward.
Causes a confusing and distressing experience. Another theory could be that Americans just don't know how to use a roundabout.
Exactly. That's not good enough reason, though. Just teach people.
Gain favor. But the reality is that people aren't used to it. You come up to this intersection, this circle, and it tells you to yield, but you're not totally sure how to use it.
It's just irritating because it's like more of an excuse to me.
The concept of going around
in
a circle
but
to find
we've
direction.
had that same excuse.
So it's a matter of just people getting comfortable with it and used to it.
Absolutely, I get that, but just teach it more in driver's ed with the young people.
There's a way they could have a sign that kind of explains as you're coming up to it.
No,
because a lot of roundabouts don't have signs other than road names.
Any of that. You just teach it in driver's ed. You add...
Yeah.
You make it a little bit harder because our driver's ed is incredibly easy.
Okay, so I recently had to retake my driver's test because it expired too much.
And did it even talk about roundabouts?
I don't think it did.
Exactly.
Like, I covered a bunch of, like, questions and stuff. I don't think it was on any of the questionnaire.
Can't believe you let that expire, by the way.
I was a bit busy this year.
So it's a matter of just people getting comfortable with it and used to it. And that comes with critical mass. The more of them there are, the better. So I think that's what the main reluctance is.
Many states don't even require teenagers to navigate one during the road skills driver's exam to obtain their licenses. Even in the turn section on the Virginia State Driver's Evaluation, the roundabout portion reads only, if available. American drivers end up learning how to drive through a roundabout during their first real-world encounter with them. This can cause a stressful experience due to the lack of familiarity. Therefore,
like, they actually used to stress me out. No, they actually used to stress me out until probably we went to England, and we just drove through so many that I was like, when I came back, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is.
And you kind of realized we grew to appreciate them.
For the most part, yeah.
Some of them were weird, though.
I mean, still traffic.
Due to the lack of familiarity. Therefore, the disdain for the experience is established. Lastly, it comes down to awareness. Many Americans don't know how beneficial roundabouts are.
Not only do roundabouts reduce vehicle collisions by 38%, they are also cheaper to construct, reduce congestion, and are better for the environment.
Roundabouts save about $5,000 to $10,000 per year due to the reduced maintenance and electrical cost. They also improve traffic flow. Cars do not have to stop and...
That was the next thing I was going to mention that we talked in econ. about was the economic cost. It's way cheaper to maintain a roundabout than it is a full-way traffic light because
there's no electricity involved.
Exactly. So you don't have to maintain the electricity, but also there's some pretty advanced technology in traffic lights, like all the sensors and computer programs. Like this one trips, it lets the other one know to trip, or change color rather. So all that combined is like they're very expensive. You have to have like engineers and computer programmers and maintenance guys. Not only as well as just maintaining the actual pavement and if power goes out and then it's like, oh well, what do we do? Kind of thing. So absolutely, I feel like you could probably save way more money than that.
Like we said, all newer roads and stuff are being built. They usually will incorporate roundabouts.
Yeah. So give us another 50, 100 years.
Electrical cost. They also improve traffic flow. Cars do not have to stop and wait for the light to change. One study of 3 locations in New Hampshire, New York, and Washington found an 89% average reduction in vehicle delays and a 56% average reduction in vehicle stops in areas where roundabouts replace intersections. Another study in Kansas across 11 intersections.
There you go, guys. That is Kansas.
Flat.
Found similar results with a 65% reduction in delays and a 52% decrease in traffic stops. Because of the reduction in traffic delays and stops, roundabouts have a relatively non-existent carbon footprint. One study in Sweden found an average reduction.
I love that.
That's kind of cool.
I have no idea where that is, but I love that. That's really cool.
It's like an apartment complex.
Non-existent carbon footprint.
Or maybe a
One
hospital.
Study in Sweden found an average reduction in carbon emissions by 29% and a reduction in fuel consumption by 28%.
Exactly.
Fortunately, it is proven that more and more Americans are coming around to accepting and using roundabouts.
Studies show that once drivers learn how to use them, their attitude towards roundabouts drastically changes. Community surveys where roundabouts were built shows that only 30% of people approved of them before construction, but approval increased to about 50 to 70% after they were built. So, while modern roundabouts may not be widely popular in the U.S., Americans are slowly coming back around to the idea of them.
Keyword there, slowly.
We're coming around to the idea.
Anyway, that was actually a really good video. I really liked how they put all that together with all the information. They showed you like real life roundabouts over here in the U.S. compared them. That was actually a way better video than I thought. 'Cause I didn't really know what to expect when I first watched it, but
it's interesting to know those facts, though, because I had no idea that we were so behind.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And how like efficient roundabouts really are and can be. And I didn't actually think of it as how much it can decrease deaths and stuff, because there are a lot of deaths that happen at traffic lights. That's like majority, like she was saying, and so that was kind of interesting. Like I didn't even think of that. Like roundabouts can save your life, basically.
No, actually, they save lives. They're better for the environment. They cost less. They save the individual money. There is no really downside to them.
More roundabouts. I'm up for it.
Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching us. As always, you can comment down below and see if you agree with this or not, which I'm guessing most of you will. We'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, please be safe, take care, look after one another, and cheers.
Bye-bye.